Level 1. Negative net worth. You're 22 years old and you're worth negative $47,000. Student loans, $38,000. Credit card debt, $9,214 in your checking account. That's it. That's what you have. Your bedroom is a mattress on the floor. Your nightstand is a cardboard box. You eat eggs for dinner 4 nights a week because they're $1.20 a dozen. You take the bus because a car payment would bury you even deeper. 45 minutes each way, every single day. You do laundry at the laundromat because your apartment doesn't have a machine. 2 hours every Sunday. That's your weekend routine. And the worst part isn't the money. It's the feeling, like you're already behind before you even started. Your first job pays $38,000 a year, before taxes, before rent, before everything. You make a budget every month, and every month you go over it. You compare prices on everything. Store brand cereal, the cheaper shampoo. You know exactly what every item costs because you've memorized it. When your friends ask you to go out, you make excuses, because $22 for dinner means you can't buy groceries on Thursday. You scroll through Instagram, and everyone your age seems to be doing better than you. New apartments, nice dinners, weekend trips. You wonder what you're doing wrong. You tell yourself it's temporary, that this is just the starting point. But some mornings, when the alarm goes off at 6:15, it doesn't feel temporary at all. You lie awake at night doing math in your head. Rent, minimum payments, groceries. It never adds up. At the minimum payment rate, you'll be paying off these loans until you're 43. But here's the thing about level 1. Almost everyone starts here. The difference between the people who stay and the people who don't is what happens next. Level 2. Breaking even. You pick up a side hustle. Maybe freelancing, maybe tutoring, maybe driving for a rideshare app on weekends. Fridays and Saturdays, you drive strangers around the city from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. During the week, you come home from your 9 to 5 and work another 4 hours on freelance projects. And for the first time in your life, you have money left over at the end of the month. Not much. Maybe $200, but it's positive. $1,800 in savings. It's not life-changing, but it means you can handle a flat tire without going into more debt. You meal prep on Sundays. 5 containers, same meal, 5 days. Not because you enjoy it, because it saves you $11 a day compared to eating out. For the first time, your budget is actually green. Every category, under limit. It took 18 months of discipline to get here. You start throwing every extra dollar at the highest interest debt. The credit cards go first, then you attack the student loans. Every payment feels like chipping away at a mountain with a spoon. 2 years go by. 2 years of saying no to vacations, no to new clothes, no to anything that isn't food, rent, or debt. And then one day, you open your loan portal, and the balance says 0. You call your mom, you tell her you're debt-free. She cries. You try not to, but you do anyway, because she saw how hard this was. 0. You owe nothing to anyone. Your net worth just hit 0, and you feel like you just won the lottery. Which is kind of insane when you think about it. You're celebrating having nothing, but 0 is the starting line, and you're finally standing on it. Level 3. First real money. You move into a better apartment. Nothing fancy, but you have a real bed frame now, and a plant. You got a promotion, or maybe you switched jobs for a 20% raise. Your new salary is $52,000. $10,000 in savings. 3 months of expenses. For the first time, an unexpected bill doesn't send you into a panic. Your car tire blows out. $600. A year ago, that would have wrecked your whole month. Now you just pay it and move on. You open an investment account. You put in $500. You pick a basic index fund because you read that's what you're supposed to do. You start paying attention to money differently. You listen to podcasts about investing. You read about compound interest and tax-advantaged accounts. Words that used to mean nothing suddenly matter. You read 3 books about money in 1 month. You've never read 3 books about anything in 1 month. But this feels urgent. You listen to financial podcasts at the gym. You hear someone explain the difference between assets and liabilities, and it clicks. Everything you own that costs you money every month is a liability. Your car, your subscriptions, even your apartment. Real assets put money in your pocket. You finally contribute to your 401k, at least enough to get the full employer match. That's free money you've been leaving on the table for years. You go out to dinner with friends without checking your bank account first. That's what $10,000 feels like. Not rich, just safe. Your net worth crosses 10,000, then 15, then 20. The line on the graph is finally going up. Level 4. Building momentum. Somewhere in your late 20s, you cross $100,000 in total net worth. Nobody knows. You can't see it. It's just numbers on a screen. $67,000 in investments, $30,000 in savings, the rest in your retirement account. You buy a car, a real one, used, 3 years old, but it's reliable. You paid cash, no car payment. That feels incredible. At work, something shifts. You negotiate differently when you have savings. You take on harder projects because you're not terrified of getting fired. You have options now, and people can sense it. You switch jobs again. 85,000. This time you negotiated the salary instead of just accepting the first number. You and your partner combined finances, 2 incomes, 1 rent. For the first time, saving money doesn't require suffering, it just requires a plan. You automate everything. $1,500 a month goes straight to investments before you even see it. You can't spend what you don't touch. Your lifestyle improves, but you keep it in check. Better restaurants sometimes, a weekend trip here and there. But you're not trying to look rich. You run the compound interest calculator for the first time, and the numbers almost don't seem real. If you just keep doing what you're doing, the math says you'll be a millionaire by 50, and for the first time, you start thinking about buying a house. Not as a fantasy, as an actual plan. 100,000. It took you 7 years to get here, but the next 100,000 will take half that time. That's how momentum works. Level 5. Real wealth. $500,000. You own a house now. You put 20% down and got a good rate. You have a home office, a real one. Not a desk in the corner of your bedroom. 300,000 in investments. The dividends are starting to add up. Not enough to live on, but enough to notice. You take real vacations now, not just long weekends, actual trips. You fly economy, but you don't stress about the flight cost. Your mortgage payment comes out automatically, and you don't even flinch. 2 years ago, that amount would have kept you up at night. Now it's just a line item. You host people at your house now, cookouts, birthdays. It's a small thing, but owning a space where people gather feels like something you earned. Your relationship with money is different. You don't obsess over every purchase anymore. You spend on things that matter, and you're ruthless about cutting things that don't. Younger people start asking you for financial advice. You tell them the same boring truth. Spend less, invest consistently, be patient. They want a secret, and there isn't one. Some days your portfolio goes up more than you make it work. That's a weird feeling. Your money is making money while you sleep. At $500,000, the biggest change isn't what you buy, it's how you feel. You sleep differently when you know you could survive anything for years. Level 6. The transition. You hire a financial advisor, not a guy selling you mutual funds, an actual fiduciary who works in your interest. He runs the numbers and tells you something that changes your perspective. At your savings rate, you could retire in 8 years. You're 33, but you don't want to retire. You actually like your work now. You got promoted to director, 130,000 base, plus bonus. Recruiters message you every week now. You don't need to chase opportunities anymore. They come to you. That shift happened quietly, but it changes everything about how you carry yourself. On weekends, you work on a side project, not for the money, because for the first time, you have enough security to take a risk on something you actually care about. You start spending on quality, better food, better shoes that last 5 years instead of 1. You buy fewer things, but better things. You buy your first investment property, a small duplex. The rent from 1 unit covers most of the mortgage. It's not passive income yet, but it's a start. 750,000. The curve is getting steeper. Compound interest isn't just a concept anymore. You can see it working in real time. Level 7, millionaire, $1 million. You stare at the number, you refresh the page, you check it on a different app, it's real, and you feel almost nothing. No fireworks, no champagne. It happens so gradually that crossing the line feels like any other Tuesday. You look in the mirror, and you look exactly the same. Nobody at work knows. Your neighbors don't know. It's an invisible milestone. Your house is nice, but it's not a mansion. Your car is good, but it's not a Porsche. From the outside, you look upper middle class, because that's exactly what you are. But there's a quiet confidence that comes with having $1 million that nobody gave you. You didn't inherit it, you didn't win it. You built it one paycheck, one decision, one boring Tuesday at a time, and nobody can take that from you. But things are different. You pay for your parents' car repair without thinking about it. You cover the check at family dinners. You give without keeping score because you don't have to. Your kid goes to a good school, not because you're trying to show off, but because you can actually afford it now. Vacations feel different. You're not checking your bank account when you order room service. You're just present. And here's where it gets interesting. At $1 million, you start thinking about what you actually want to do with your life. Not what you have to do, what you want to do. Your investments throw off $38,000 a year in dividends and growth. Not enough to replace your salary, but enough that you could take a massive pay cut and still be fine. That's freedom most people never experience. Level 8. Multi-Millionaire. $5 million. You upgraded the house. Not a mansion, but the kind of house that makes people say, wow, this is really nice. You have 3 cars in the garage. One of them is a Porsche. You drive it on weekends, and it still makes you smile. You don't manage your own money anymore. You have a wealth manager. He handles tax optimization, estate planning, trust structures. You fly first class. Not every time, but often enough. You tell yourself it's for the legroom and the productivity. It's also for the champagne. You bought a watch that costs more than your first car. It tells the same time as a $20 Casio. But every time you look at it, you remember what it took to get here. You have a home gym. You work out at 5 a.m., not because someone told you to, but because your health is the one thing money can't buy back. You either run your own business now, or you're a senior executive. Either way, your income isn't just salary anymore. It's equity, stock options, profit sharing, rental income. Your money comes from multiple places, $420,000 a year in total income, and honestly, you don't even spend half of it. You go to charity events, you donate, not for the tax write-off, because you genuinely want to help. You remember what level 1 felt like. At 5 million, money isn't really a problem anymore, but new problems show up. Who your real friends are, what your kids understand about money, whether any of this actually makes you happy. You worry about raising your kids with perspective. You want them to be hungry, not entitled. That's harder to teach when they've never seen a struggle. Level 9, ultra rich, $50 million. Your primary residence is worth $8 million. You also have a house in Aspen and a condo in Manhattan. You don't fly commercial anymore. You charter a jet. Sometimes you take a friend's plane. Time is the only resource you can't buy more of, and airports waste too much of it. You have a family office, 3 full-time people whose entire job is managing your money, your taxes, your legal structures, and your properties. You collect art, not because you understand it, because your wealth advisor told you it's a good asset class and you actually started to like it. The painting in your living room cost more than your first apartment. Your social circle changed completely. Your friends are founders, investors, and executives. Conversations are about cap tables and carried interest, not Netflix shows. You own a vineyard in Napa, not for the wine. Your accountant called it a tax-efficient agricultural investment. You just liked the idea of owning land. Your kid got into a top school. You wrote the tuition check without blinking. You paid for it the way someone else buys coffee. And that fact alone makes you uncomfortable. You start a foundation, not a huge one, but enough to fund scholarships for kids who remind you of yourself at 22. You sit on boards. Companies ask for your opinion, not because you're the smartest person in the room, but because you've built something they respect. But here's the part nobody talks about. At 50 million, the house is bigger, but it feels emptier sometimes. Your old friends don't call as much. They assume you're busy, or they feel weird about the gap. Either way, the phone rings less. The loneliness at level 9 is different from level 1. You chose this path. You'd choose it again. But some nights, you miss the simplicity of a mattress on the floor. Level 10. Billionaire. $1 billion. A number so large it stops meaning anything. If you spent $1 million every single day, it would take you almost 3 years to run out. You will never run out. You have a security team, 24 hours a day, not because you're paranoid, because at this level, you're a target. Everyone wants something from you. Every conversation has an angle. Every smile might be a pitch. You have so many lawyers that your lawyers have lawyers. Every decision is reviewed. Every word you say publicly is measured. Your name shows up in the news, not because you want it to. You said something at a conference, and now it's a headline. You learn very quickly that at this level, privacy is something you have to fight for. You built a home theater with 12 seats. You've never had 12 people watch a movie in it. Most nights, it's just you. You own a yacht. You've been on it 4 times this year. Maintaining it costs $3 million a year, whether you use it or not. But that's a rounding error at this level. You bought an island. Not to show off. Because it's the only place where nobody knows who you are and nobody wants anything. You attend Davos. You sit in rooms with heads of state and tech founders. The decisions made in these rooms affect millions of people. You fund a hospital wing. You pay for clean water systems in 3 countries. Your foundation employs 40 people. The impact is real. Children are alive because of money you made sitting in an office. People call you for advice on things that have nothing to do with money. Because at this level, influence is the real currency, and you have more of it than you ever wanted. You pass a bus stop. A kid in a hoodie is waiting with earbuds in, staring at the ground. You were that kid. That kid has no idea that the man in this car was once standing exactly where he is. But you eat dinner alone more often than you'd admit. Your kids are grown. Your wife has her own schedule. The staff keeps the house running whether you're home or not. You look in the mirror and you see the same person who had $214 in a checking account. That kid is still in there somewhere, One day, you drive past that first apartment, the one with the mattress on the floor, and you pull over, and you just sit there for a minute, remembering what eggs for dinner tasted like, because here's the truth that every level teaches you. Money doesn't change who you are, it just reveals it. Every level is a mirror, and the person staring back at you is the same one who was broke and scared and eating eggs at 22. The only difference is the view. What you do with it, that was always up to you.